Let's bring in Taylor Shire now, if you don't mind, from the Leader Post. We got a lot to get to it, Taylor. Hey, Taylor, nice to see you. Don't believe I've ever seen you in spectacles. How do you feel about the accusations by some, Scruffy, that the contest is rigged and that we'll never have a chance to win? You're a Rocanville guy. You can speak for the province. What do you think of that accusation?
I don't know if I can speak for the province, but I did grow up in a small town. I don't think it's rigged, but I think all the finalists, even all the nominees, there's many rinks across Canada that are deserving of this award. It can only go to one. Elliott Lake, watching their submission, their rink is inoperation right now. The kids can't even play hockey there. Wolseley, they can still play hockey, but they're nearing the end of the ice plan. So if you think about deserving, and this is completely unbiased, obviously I would have loved to see Wolseley win, them get the money and have the NHL preseason game here. But Elliott Lake, I had to look it up on a map also. They're not even playing hockey at their rink right now because it was in need of upgrade. So if you think about who's more deserving for this year's award, it's hard to argue with that. But I certainly think Wolseley is more than deserving. And then I don't know if they can keep submitting every year, or does it kind of lose? Can they just keep trying year after year, or does it kind of lose a bit of the luster after going kind of all in this year to try to win the award? So certainly disappointing. I don't know why it hasn't been awarded to a Saskatchewan town. There's been a lot of good submissions over the years. I don't know if it comes down to simply a vote. I don't think it's a population-based thing, because we've seen small towns in the Maritimes win this before. So I don't think it's like an Ontario dominates every year type of award. That would be certainly we could blame it on population or lack of population if it came down to that every year. In some of the fine print, if you read the fine print, it says final vote will be determined by final award will be determined by the final vote. But as Kraft Hockeyville, we also have a bit of a say in it. So I don't know if it actually is rigged, where they actually decide if who is the more deserving or how close the votes are. So certainly interesting, but unfortunate that Wolseley didn't get it this year. But I think Elliott Lake is deserving as well.
That's a very nice answer. Have you ever and I say this 100% seriously, have you considered politics? I can't speak as diplomatically as that. I'm pissed, and I'm tired of getting the shaft, and you probably are under the surface too, but you just very diplomatically said that, so kudos for you, and thank you for the answer, because you probably didn't expect to be talking about it on here. The Barflies in Winnipeg writes in, he says, get Jesse Ventura on if it's conspiracy theories you're talking about. And I'm not going to go down that road with Taylor, maybe another day. But you can kind of see why people claim fix when it comes to Super Bowl and officiating and all the rest, when it is proven that it does happen, but just not in this case. Frogay, sorry, back on point. Of course, I read your columns every day, your articles and everything. Robin in Prince Albert writes that he says, breaking Rider news. Wide receiver Samuel Emelis signs an extension. Last year, 1,000-yard season in the CFL. I read your mailbag is my point. Pretty high optimism in Riderville right now. Am I right?
Yeah, and then this Sam Emelis signing just coming in this morning. Of course, he was under contract already for the 2024 season. This is a one-year extension to keep him through 2025. He did get some NFL tryouts or sort of looks this offseason. Obviously, nothing panned out. So he extended his option. This was his option year, 2024. So then this next contract is his first non-rookie contract, I guess. Considering this is he's exercising his option year, so he'll get a little bit of an upgrade, a bit of a pay bump, I guess I should say, after a strong season. And yeah, going on that mailbag, if some of your viewers did read it. One of the main points was talking about how the Riders have sort of a surplus of Canadian receivers who could start, and could they start 3 Canadian receivers this year? I certainly think that's on the table, although I don't think they will stick Canadian receivers. With Emelis, Picton, Lennius, Schaefer-Baker, I still think they're going to draft a Canadian receiver. So, could be a camp battle, and it's certainly going to be a really interesting training camp, because this team is, I think they're completely brand new from last year. They have a few leftover pieces, Trevor Harris being the main one, but when the leadership changes at the top with Corey Mace coming in, this team is going to feel completely brand new, in my opinion, which makes for an interesting training camp and obviously an interesting outlook on the season. I don't think we can read anything into how they did last year or even the last 2 years going at 6-12. I think they've wiped the slate clean. I think there's opportunity in the West for them to compete for a playoff spot, maybe even a home playoff spot, really depending. I think it depends on what Edmonton does with McLeod, Bethel, Thompson. So there's lots of room for the Riders to really improve from last year. I don't think they're going to be necessarily competing with Winnipeg quite yet, or even BC at the top. But there's room there in the West, and I think the Riders. I think they're going to have a good year based on how the offseason's gone so far.
That was the sense that I got from reading your mailbag. Great job again, by the way, at leaderpost.com is where I read it. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, so this will end the Chase Claypool to Saskatchewan talk. Did you at least get some mild amusement by the story going around and popularized by me on the weekend that Chase Claypool will be CFL bound and could be talking to Sask in BC?
Yeah, I thought it was April Fool's when I first saw it. You were a day early, or that post was a day early. I didn't ever really think about Chase Claypool ever coming here. I'm sure there's other options, but I don't necessarily think the Riders need him, in terms of the ratio. So, but you can never have too many good Canadian receivers, and you'd never turn down an NFL. NFL caliber receiver. So, I don't know if that's ever going to pan out, but it would certainly be a big boost to their Canadian lineup. Then I think for sure they would start 3. How about that?
Yeah. Taylor, for those that don't know, is a certified hockey official. I don't know if you ever lose that. I was certified in 1986, and if that's the case, I'm certified too. But my point is, you know the game. I say what? You have to renew it?
You have to recertify every year, so I think you're a few years past.
Typical referee jumping in and ruining the fun. But my point on all of this is, you know the game. So do Winnipeg Jets fans and the Jets themselves have something legitimately to be worried about? That they've lost 6 in a row here going into tonight's home game against LA?
I don't think so. I think they still have a good team. And, as long as they put themselves in a position to obviously be in a playoff spot, but then peak at the right time, I think is the cliche. You don't have to win all your games in March and April to be going in hot into the playoffs, but you want to feel good about yourself in some way. So I think if they can respond here in the next few games, feel good about themselves, get into that, have a good first round matchup against, I think all of them are going to be tough, but sort of work themselves into a good playoff position. Every team in the West is going to be tough. Those are going to be some really good first round matchups. I don't necessarily think there are going to be 4 favorites winning. There might be 4 upsets, right? You could have a whole mixed bag. So it's certainly not time to panic in Winnipeg quite yet. Can't say the same about some other Canadian teams, but not in Winnipeg at least.
So to whom are you referring?
Calgary.
You're talking non-playoff teams? Go Cal. Okay,
Yeah,
well, they're
sorry.
not going to be in the playoffs.
But
so
they're not trending in the right direction is what I'm saying. So I'm a Habs fan, if you can see behind me. We're not panicking. Habs fans aren't panicking because it's a trajectory. I've talked about it before, right? They're in this slow rebuild. They're going to be better next year, hopefully better the year after. But I would say Calgary would be the market that not great right now, but obviously not in the playoffs and not even going to worry about it this year.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, Winnipeg, we got the playoffs around the corner, man. Got to start playing better. Calgary, it's unfortunate. I feel bad for them. You're right. There's the haves and there's the have-nots, and then there's the habs. Wow, that's good, Rod. Sounds like you're busy there, Taylor. I'm going to let you go. Thanks for finding some time for us as always, and keep up the great work I'm reading every day.
Okay, appreciate it. Talk to you soon.